Welcome. My name is Penelope Chatteron. Welcome to Awaken the Dream. My friends, I'm going to talk about the new teaching, which is a private class that Joel gave his students. So he was really sort of all over them and very strong, but the messages were so great I had to share it with all of you, because all of you might become teachers. But anyway, first of all, thank you, Tim Riley, for directing beautifully, as usual. Thank you for Liz Parker, who wrote the introduction to the meaning of the infinite way, where if you don't want to read 50 books or you get lost, or the 1,250 lectures, she helps you get through it in a way where it makes more sense. So that's very available to you, along with Acropolis Books and Michael Krupp, who inherited everything that Joel ever did. So you can get ebooks, you can get teaching books, you can get anything he's got, it's all right there. So it's fun to look at his site. I recommend it totally. And again, I'm just so happy to be here. I've moved. My living room is now a temple. So I'm getting there. I'm getting there. So anyway, the new teaching. I think I'm going to try to be logical, which is not like me, but I'm going to try and take us to the very beginning of generations of being here in this body in a three-dimensional form. We woke up for centuries with fear in every way you can imagine. Opinions, one-upping, self-preservation, good and evil. It's all over the place. It's not our fault. We smiled, we yawned, we had our milk. We did what we could, but you know, between schools and parents and the news and politics, that's what you get, good and evil. So Joel is being very one-pointed about that. There is no good and evil. There is one power. That one power is the God power, the realization of the Christ within. Okay, so that sounds simple enough. However, the reason I opened up with the fact that we are into good and evil and opinions and ideas and back and forth stuff and one-upping and stealing and greed, I mean, all those lovely things are in this dimension. And you know what? That can bring us down to finding this doesn't feel good. We all have the Christ consciousness. Every one of us, worst person you know, has God within. He doesn't have to know it in particular, but your gift and your prayer for everyone is to know it for him or her. You got that? Pretty basic. You have to see that. So we've got all of these opinions flying around and good and evil. And he says even the spiritual world is opposite common sense. He said the most interesting thing is some people love dogs. They get along great with dogs. Another person will come in and get deathly sick because they're allergic. He says you can have a beautiful rose garden where, divine for many, and for others, they sneeze. And it's very interesting how it's our reaction to anything and everything that's the ticket. So, what are you going to react to? There's a formula here that's so simple, I just don't know if I can. Well, I'm going to spit it out very early. Unto the least of these, my brethren, I do it unto me. Which means everything you look at has the Christ, and everything you give is yours because it bounces right back to you. When we think about being benevolent and giving and doing all these things, we think, oh, aren't I wonderful, I gave to this person. But basically, we've got to understand that we really gave to ourselves. We gave the gift of grace. We give grace. Grace is my sufficiency. And the reason I sit here is that grace hit me 10 or 12 years ago with a book that Joel wrote, I think Parenthesis in Eternity, and that was it. I sat down and grace gave me a mission, and that is to share Joel Goldsmith and the infinite way. Now, wisdom has been out forever. Joel takes us back to the wisdom years where really centuries ago, people literally lived together with their teacher. Sometimes they had one principal, they studied for 1 year. Sometimes they were in school for 7 years, but it was, you know, our world is different today. We don't do that. But it has a wonderful history of wisdom. The wisdom masters, the mystics really knew what was going on. The mystics knew what the prodigal son was. The prodigal son, according to the mystics, is not a man. It's not someone who left his father and went out and got poor and was trying to find himself and ended up with nothing and returned home. The prodigal son is the mind. It's the mortal mind, the human mind, the mind that has all of these opinions and fear, and especially death. The wisdom masters really taught us about there is no death. So now we have to look at why there is no death. Christian Science, of which my father was one and my grandparents were practitioners in the 1800s. Boy, do I have a legacy. I have friends envying me. I mean, it wasn't perfect, nothing's perfect. But you know, Mary Baker Eddy, when she presented the scripture, the key to the scripture, what she did was she gave folks an idea of no death, of immortality. It was huge what she did. And I don't think Joel thinks she was appreciated enough, because he was a practitioner for her. He did amazing healings. But Christian Science also has brought the Eckhart Tolles, the Jampolskys, Wayne Dyer, Marianne Williamson running for president. All she can say is Joel Goldsmith and the Infinite Way gave me so much. And isn't it interesting that the spiritual folks out there are responding more? And Eckhart Tolle says in the 21st century, it'll be more than ever was in the past with the Infinite Way. The Infinite Way is a spiritual practice to help us realize who we are. Joel says, wherever we are each day, we remember the presence within. Now, he says even every minute of the day, wherever you are, in the car, in private, you say to yourself, I am in the presence. I am perfect. My body's perfect. My health is perfect. My money, my supply is perfect. You go and claim what's true. You will not find that in the 3D dimension of opinions and fears and lack and one-upping and stealing and all those awful things. But you know, if you want to rise into a place where supply and everything that you need comes to you, you must go to that place of inner work, of realization, to be part of the closing of this the prodigal mind. We've got work to do. So I'm becoming the teacher here because Joel taught me to find some peace. I've had a lot of losses. I've had to understand the other side. I've had gifts where Spirit has come to see me, where I know about eternal life. I know we don't die. We didn't die before we got in here, and we never will. This planet was made good. This universe was made perfect. And we're chugging our way back to closing out that prodigal son, that process of fear. And Christian Science, bless you, Mary Baker Eddy, and I know nothing is perfect. Nothing's perfect. Some people are prejudiced against Catholics and Hebrews and Christian Science. I mean, prejudice is just out there. Spirituality in every form has responded to the Infinite Way. They don't have to be Infinite Way students. Joel is so good about this. He doesn't care that you join his group. He doesn't care. He wants you to go to what works for you, what feels good to you. He endorses that. He's not into, oh my God, I got to be famous. And he doesn't want to organize anything. He did say in this new teaching, you know, if I organized it, I'd have to be flying everywhere. I'd have to be doing speeches everywhere. I'd be connected to all of this stuff. That's not why I'm here. Joel was a messenger. I can't say enough about how amazed I am at the message that Joel has shared. I mean, I listen to his tapes, and honestly, every time I listen to them, it's always like I've never heard that before. It's so profound. It's so amazing what a teacher he was. He was a teacher. He was a messenger. That was, grace gave him the Infinite Way. He had a history of being a retailer. His mother always used to tease him about finding God. Then his father got very sick and was healed with Christian Science. That got Joel into it. And then he got sick and he was healed. And then he went to the Science Church. He became a first reader. And then he did beautiful healings. But again, he needed to go beyond organization. So he went to what came down the tube, as I call it, to the Infinite Way. The infinite way we can all share receiving messages. When I say let go of the human mortal scene, don't ask for anything when you pray, for whatever. Just don't ask. You would, sell yourself short. God always knows. He is the ultimate gift. The infinite way tells you you have all the riches within you, but you have to let God give them to you. So you don't ask for anything. You don't want to block something that could be a lot better for you. And frankly, nobody will listen to you. And also God, it's interesting that God can't take his power and get rid of a power that doesn't look so good. You don't pray to God to get some negativity out of here, because God is only one power. There isn't another power for God to approach and do anything with. There's one power. One presence, one power, one omniscience. And that omniscience is, well, he gave an example. Someone came to him saying, I want you to sell my property. Okay, I'm hiring you. You're going to sell my property because I know you can do it. So Joel noticed people coming and going, and nobody wanted to buy it. But, then the guy came to Joel and said, gee, you failed me. But Joel just let it go. He went, by the way, anytime anyone asks for anything, he goes for the guidance and sees the man in the Christ consciousness. This is the key to today's class. See everyone perfect whole. So the end result was amazing. The guy came to him and said, I can't believe it. I just bought out my partner, and now it's the most beautiful business I could have ever dreamed about, so I thank you. I thank you for not trying to get it sold for me, because it wasn't meant to be. Joel let that go. He also has another interesting example. He said, what if a burglar comes into your house? He's got a gun. He wants everything you have. And you look at him and you say, well, I could shoot him. But you don't shoot him. You don't know. Joel says, maybe he'll be another Christ. Is he more important than I am? Is my property more important than I am? I need to see the God in this man or woman or whoever is up to no good. And that's how you let go. That's a pretty interesting example. But that's what we must do. We can't see evil. There is no evil. There's no sin, death, good and evil. Can't say good and evil enough, because, some people will say, as I say, the rose garden looks great, and other people will get sick. It's our reaction to everything is up to us. What are we going to see? That's what we get back. So, worst case scenario, the worst thing you can look at, you let it go. You go within. If it's confusing, you say, God, make this clear. I'm letting this go. I surrender to you about what all of this is about, and you release it. And messages will come to you. Intuitions will come to you from the source that loves you about what to do. There is communion going on there. We tabernacle. I love that word. Is that an old word? Tabernacle with God. Go within, commune, be a sharer, listen. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. You can't say that enough. No, nothing. No, nothing. Just say, okay, let's go into my day. Let's go. We're going together. What's up? And sharing is our gift. To the least of these, my brethren, you give it unto me. That is so powerful. Now, he mentions this hospital in a foreign land that needed millions of dollars because nobody sick had a place to go. And Joel was asked to help out, and all he could do was let that go. And as he let it go, everyone just came forth knowing that even in this human world, people are doing good for one another, and that's Christ's work. We don't want to negate the fact that people who have wonderful businesses and lots of integrity, and they treat their folks well, have a Christ mind going on for them. We want to remember that. We're not going to dismiss this three-dimensional plane. Christ works everywhere. Everywhere one thinks of another. And of course, as I say, when they think of another, they're thinking of themselves. And that's not selfish, my friends. There's nothing like getting back what you sent out. So no organization for Joel. Christian Science was awesome. He also thinks we're here to transform the world. And I think he's right. As Eckhart Tolle and all of these very spiritual, high-ranking folks today are saying, you know, fear is going to dissolve. We are here to dissolve fear, good and evil, as we don't see it anymore. And you know, when you can go somewhere and you hear of a catastrophe, or, oh, he says, look, I'm walking down a lane and I see whiskey bottles, and I don't react. I see poverty. I don't react. I see gambling tables. He used to gamble. I don't see anything. I don't feel anything. It's gone. It's gone with the work that he did within. It dissolved with what work he did for all of us. I can't say enough about Joel. Can't say enough about what genius I think the man is, was, will always be, and as Eckhart Tolle said, in the 21st century, he will be more important than ever, because people are so responding to him. I think Gerald Jampolsky and Wayne Dyer has his portrait on his piano. I mean, I read all his books, friends. I've listened to most of his tapes, and they're wonderful avenues, but you know, you can't stop there. You can't read a book and say, oh, I'm all set. I'm transformed. That is not what books and tapes are about, and I'll tell you why. Books and tapes are a stepping stone. They're inspiring. They give principles about transformation. They help us to know what to do. So we listen to them, but then we follow the instructions. You put the book down and you go within. The point of the books and the tapes, they're guidance. They're guiding you to be inner. You've got a buddy with you at all times, a presence within you. I and my Father are one. And you know, if you and your Father are one, then the neighbor that you see and you give love to is one too. So you don't have two gods. He said, we're connected. We're all in this together. We're all whole and complete. So our vision has to be simple and clear. I also want to give credit to my late husband, who died when he was 26 after my second child was born, because honestly, in hindsight, it's taken me a while to get this. He's in on this with me. He sent me into such a place of despair that I had to reach out, and eventually the Infinite Way came to me, and I'm very grateful for that. And also, I lost a cousin a few weeks ago. His name was Q. And I want to say hi to Ron and thank him for being a wonderful family member as well. We all miss him and love him. And it's wonderful that we know Ron and David are eternal. And you are eternal. And you know, I told you, and someone said I shouldn't say that, but the dog that I put down that went into my body and lifted out, and I mean, the presence that comes to talk to you from the other side, if you are open to that, you have to be open to spirit talks, spirit moves. We are invisible, my friends. We're invisible. We are totally spirit. Now, the body. Now, I was a redhead. Hello. That's not happening anymore. So we have to sort of chuckle at the fact that our spirits within are just childlike. We're kids. I don't know about you, but I'm just as crazy and silly as I was when I was 5. But I've noticed, I got some wrinkles, I got white hair, the body's sort of shifting around, and it's like, so what? We don't give it leg room. That's nothing that we need to care about. We just have to actually proclaim good health. Mary Baker Eddy helped us so much with disease and lack. Honestly, Joel was so taken with healings, and you have to go for the best, the very best that we can do in this body. This body is an instrument. Got that? This body is an instrument. We're in it. We can enjoy it. We can use it. We can take care of it. But it's an instrument for healing ourselves and to help others. We're here to give and share. Not despair that we're getting older. I should start a group for old people. I think I'd be good at it. We have to laugh at some of the things that this mortal plane has told us we have to worry about, all the diseases we're going to get and all the things that can happen to us. Oh, and here's another thing. Joel had mentioned years ago, believe it or not, getting in a draft and getting wet feet, we had a belief system that said you're going to be sick. People got sick. Then he mentioned menopause. My God, you're insane. Got to be put away because you're not acting right and you're pretty crazy. And again, I have to laugh at that. That's proven to be wrong. It's a biological thing. Everybody goes through it that needs to go through it. So it's almost like beliefs that were in the past have been corrected, and they will continue to be corrected as we realize our completeness. All right, my friends. Don't feel bad. You were born into a three-dimensional plane that gave you all of this work. It's fun. And you know, we're all teachers on some level. Even if you're quiet, you can give in ways that other people will feel. They'll know that about you. They'll pick up on your consciousness. Consciousness is the biggest word in the infinite way. We're filling consciousness with love. We are consciousness. We're conscious of the Christ within us. That's what we're conscious of. We know who we are. So now we draw the whole world into that with us. We share consciousness. We share the one power which can't overcome anything. One wisdom that speaks to us when we tabernacle and commune. Don't know anything. Go to God for the answer. Go for omniscience. Go for the wisdom. The wisdom masters, when I really think of what they studied and how they studied centuries ago, and I mean, all of the new information that from the way past is coming up, and Joel is right there. He's right there with all the wisdom schools from centuries ago. He's just using a modern language that we can understand what Jesus was talking about. This is what Jesus was talking about, the infinite way. His disciples went out and tried to help others with what they knew. It wasn't everything, but Jesus gave up his body. He left the tomb. They taped his mouth and he spoke. He's still speaking. Christmas is coming, his birthday. He had a phenomenal assignment, and I thank him. As so many churches and synagogues and every religion has their own God. It doesn't matter which one it is. We just have to know we're all in touch with the presence. So in my last couple of minutes, friends, be within. Meditate is another super good word for the infinite way. We are to meditate, be quiet, be within. Go to a library, find some privacy, commune, tabernacle. Be within all day. Think about it. It'll keep coming to you. And you know, it's a wonderful habit that as you get into it, it becomes more and more frequent. And all of a sudden, you'll hear it talking to you because you're doing it right. All day, all night, you wake up and you can be blessed. Bless your pets, bless your friends. Don't you love the way I said pets first? I got this thing. Even my funny sister, we worry about the foxes at night or where do the turkeys go to sleep. I mean, how wonderful this world is. And the tides come and the tides go and it gets dark at night. Think of that miracle. Last couple of minutes, look around you. Roses bloom. We didn't make them bloom. Skies come and go. Tides come and go. It was created. Beautiful. Just look around you and marvel at the creation that you are existing in and with and for. It was done for us. And now we're here to lend a helping hand to those who suffer from falling for false gods, for fear. It can be dealt with. It can be erased. It can be dissolved. And before you know it, as Joel sees a liquor bottle, which he used to love, it doesn't register anymore because you've done the inner work and you found something that was so much more appealing than running away from who you really were and are. So thank you, my friends, for joining me on Awaken the Dream. I hope I made some sense today because I'm excited to be back. Happy holidays.